Alabama has done it again, landing five-star edge defender Keon Keeley. We're going to talk with Jimmy Stein of Bama Insider about what it means for the Crimson Tide here in the class of 2023 on this episode of Tide Talk Live. Welcome back in, everybody, to another episode of Tide Talk Live. What a big day it was for Alabama on the recruiting trail, landing five-star edge defender Keon Keeley. We're not. Jake has not magically turned into a silver fox with considerably more knowledge about Alabama football. We are joined by Jimmy Stein of Bama Insider and, of course, Locked On Bama. Jimmy, what a big day for Alabama on the recruiting trail. Just quickly. Talk about what Keon Keeley's commitment means for Alabama in this class of 2023.
Well, it's huge. Obviously, On3 ranks him, the third best prospect overall in the country, regardless of position. He's, in my mind, clearly the best pure pass rusher in the whole class nationally. You're losing, one of the great pass rushers, maybe the best or second best pass rusher in the history of Alabama football, and Will Anderson. You got to replace that production. Now, we'll see how quickly Keon can get on the field. But in terms of what his upside is, this is a kid that could be the best pass rusher in college football at some point. With Will Anderson moving out, and the timing up is outstanding. And on top of just being such an incredibly gifted physical talent, he's such a great kid off the field. This is a kid that's going to be a leader. His intangibles are through the roof, no different than his tangibles.
Yeah, and I look at this defensive class, especially the top two guys, Keon Keeley and Caleb Downs. I'm not sure there's a better player pound for pound in the country in this class than Caleb Downs. And now you pair him up with a guy like Keon Keeley, and those are two elite defenders that have the potential to make that instant impact for Alabama in 2023 that are going to be at positions of need, like you mentioned. And the fact that Keeley is now on board, and of course, he hasn't technically signed the dotted lines just yet, but for all intents and purposes, he's going to be a part of this class. And just talk about what those two guys could bring as a pair to this class and to the future of this program.
Well, Caleb Downs and Keon, they're so similar to me, Stacey. In terms of they're as good as it gets. And by that sure, there could be some alien, guy that beams down like a LeBron school football type. But really, in terms of what you're trying to find in a high school safety and what you're trying to find in a high school pass rusher, it just doesn't get much better than those two. Then factor in to the surprise of no one, they're great kids off the field. They're very bright, advanced academically, achieving families, good schools they go to. They both go to outstanding schools. So in so many ways, they're so similar. And to me, I think the similarities won't end in their high school profiles and into college, because I suspect that both of them will get on the field very quickly. And the transition from high school football to SEC football is going to be very easy for guys like them. We've seen a lot of highly recruited, highly rated guys end up not making that transition so easily. It will be a shock if Caleb Downs and Keon Keeley aren't very good at the college level really quickly. They're just sort of made for it, born for it. And I find those two really similar in terms of how advanced their games are for their age.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's I hate to compare people but it's what we do. We got to fill in the time slot. But you look at a guy like Caleb Downs. To me, the first person that pops in my mind is Mika Fitzpatrick. You look at Keon Keeley, the first guy that pops up is Will Anderson, and I'm not saying those two guys are going to reach that level, but can you imagine a defense where you have a Will Anderson type and a Minka Fitzpatrick type on the field at the same time, and how elite that defense could be, and how bright the future is on that side of the ball for Alabama?
Oh, yeah. Well, famously, we didn't get a lot of turnovers this year. The defense didn't produce turnovers, and it should have been a defense that generated a lot of turnovers, right? Because turnovers are going to start with a great pass rush and end with a talented DB that takes advantage of a quarterback's mistakes caused by the pass rush. So if you want a high turnover rate, the talented pass rush and a talented safety, that can see the field, play the quarterback, not necessarily play receiver, but play the quarterback, play off the quarterback's mistakes. So with Keon Keeley rushing the passer and Caleb Downs back there is sort of an eraser or a guy that's going to clean up every mistake that's made by the I can see these two sort of working hand in hand together in that role. It'll be interesting to me, Stacey, if Caleb plays just a pure safety role or maybe that star position that Brian Branch plays now. I think Caleb's athletic enough to get away with any of it, but Keon is almost certainly going to be in. You certainly see him playing the same position that Will plays.
Yeah, those two guys, I could spend an hour talking about those two prospects because they're like you mentioned, they're as good as it gets at their positions at the high school level when you're projecting them, to the college level. And certainly I know Nick Saban has to be excited about, and Pete Golden has to be excited about what they're getting in those two players. And, quickly, Jimmy, before I let you go, I know you're busy. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about kind of just changing the subject real quick about the Alabama basketball program and how they have just, AP poll come out, the number 4, just the job that Nate Oates has done and the job that these freshmen have done, kind of really just coming together and a total team effort is what they put together against Houston. Brandon Miller was not at his best, but he come through in the clutch. Mark Sears continues to make clutch baskets. Noah Clowney continues to develop and grow into a really, really good basketball player. So just quickly, your thoughts on Nate Oates and the men's basketball team real quick.
Yeah, just ranked number 4 today in the AP poll. Unreal. I think it's their highest ranking in something like 15 years. And, the win over boggles my mind, really. Even though I knew how good this team could be, and I was really appreciative of what they'd done so far, it still surprised me. Like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that was a tough game to win in just an impossible environment. And it goes to show that, hey, there's not an SEC road game that we should ever chalk up as a loss team. They're capable of beating anybody in any place. That makes it a lot of fun. And the fact that it's spearheaded by freshmen, in my mind, I'm starting to call them the Fab Four. It's a little bit of a cheap comparison there, and not really fair to compare them to Michigan's Fab Five. But to me, those Griffin, Bradley, Clowney, and Miller. What's great is it's not just one guy, right, Stacey? I mean, it's so easy to say it's Brandon Miller and his 3 buddies, but it's not. Clowney's just a dude in his own right. Jaden Bradley is just a dude in his own right. There will come a game this year, Alan Griffin's on the team. I mean, there will come a game that he's going to win for Alabama. That's coming. So these 4 freshmen sort of almost leading the way just goes to show you how, even in football, we talk about senior leadership or the leaders on the team. Hey, sometimes you can lead by performance. Just go out there and play and put up the numbers and make the shots and make the stops. That's leadership too. It doesn't have to be the guy that talks in the huddle or the guy that cusses in the locker room or throws his towel across the room. I mean, it doesn't have to be that. You can lead and putting up numbers and winning the game. And that's what I see in this Fab Four, these guys that are showing up winners and they're winning the games, just bringing along everyone else with them.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm excited to see what this team can do. Of course, the schedule doesn't get any easier for these guys. Memphis on Tuesday night, then Gonzaga, and then you start playing some SEC teams, and you start with Mississippi State, they're as good as any other SEC team right now as it looks in non-conference play. So it doesn't get any easier for Nate Oates and company. But I'm with you. This team is a lot of fun to watch, and the nucleus of those 4 freshmen is really the difference in the team. And I look at Jaden Bradley. He really seems like the glue guy to me. And it's strange that you have a freshman that is a glue guy that comes off the bench, but he's capable of getting you double-digit scoring numbers. He's going to get you three to five assists every time he goes out, and he just makes winning plays, doesn't turn over the basketball, and they're just a fun group to watch, and I'm excited about the future, even this season, what this team can do.
Yeah, Bradley, so physical. I mean, Alabama's got 3 point guards. Any one of the three could win you a game. We've seen Javon Quinter as an SEC tournament MVP in the past, and Mark Sears, just unbelievable in the win over North Carolina in particular. I mean, he was a huge part of that shocking 4 overtime win over North Carolina. So we've seen Mark Sears sort of put the team on his shoulders. Now we see Jaden Bradley, I think, in that second half against physical presence for the point guard. Every time he's out there playing the point, at first glance on the TV screen, I think he's a small forward. I mean, he's so big. He has such a physical body and plays the position real physical. I think he's going to be an outstanding defensive player. I think he might take a little than some of the one and dones, but after maybe 2 years of college basketball, or 3 max, I can see the NBA just loving that guy.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. All right, Jimmy. Hey, I don't want to keep you any longer. I really enjoyed talking to some Keon Keeley and Caleb Downs, and then some Bama hoops with you, real quick. Of course, everybody knows Jimmy Stein. He's Locked On Bama, one of the best podcasts around, regardless if you love Alabama or not. It's a great listen. Him and Luke do a fantastic job. And, of course, at Bama Insider, he's on the forums there, Talk of Champions, keeping the content rolling there. Him and Clint and the team, Joseph, Andrew, they do a great job there. So, Jimmy, I appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much for that, and we'll see you again real soon.
Thanks so much for having me on, Stacey. I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you.